Hello guys and welcome back to a new video. If you are new here, hi, my name is Miracle, population me. I say this every video just so that you don't forget. But it is now May. It is May Day. It is literally Cinco de Mayo. It is May the 5th. It's a Monday. I just came back from work in the gym and all that sorts of things. And it is also, I have realized 2 or 3 weeks before many people start to graduate or even go into the internship process at school. So give it up to those grads because I definitely don't know when you guys graduate. So this is your congratulations video right here. So hurrah, But after last month where I did a lot of case studies to show you a lot of the downsides of consulting so that you don't be disillusioned and seeing that only the glamorous side of consulting, which by the way, I still love this industry, but it is very imperative that people know that it's not all the glamour you see. A lot of people might not even like the industry and might want to leave it for various reasons. And sometimes it's just better to just know all your options before you're told something. And then in reality, you're just doing something totally different. So this is not one of those videos. I'm sorry for your loss, but this is not one of those videos. I am just going to give you more make sure you know information, not so much of doom and gloom, because that's not what I'm trying to do. It sounds like I say that every episode, but we're not doing case studies because that was April, right? We did that in April. I struggled. I found them, and we know because all the big companies did crazy stuff, and we understand. We get it. They just did not want to do the right thing sometimes, right? But this time, I'm going to try to give you more tips and tricks about just what you really want to make sure you are following when it comes to consulting. And if you already watched my videos in the past, I talked about tips for resumes, websites to look for, companies to go for, salaries you want, type of consulting you want to be, all that good stuff. So if you're looking for a job and you want to look for more consulting roles, or you already have an internship, or you have something lined up, and you just really want to see what is there going to be about, I've heard this, is that true type of stuff, right? This is the video for you. These are just 5 basic things that sound basic. Maybe you never heard about it. Maybe it's your first time learning about it. But here are just 5 things that you want to think about before you really just be like, oh, this is the perfect job. I found the one I always wanted. And then you get there and you're like, oh, that could have been told to me, so I didn't think it was, sunshines and rainbows, whatever. But let's get into it. Number 1 for this will be, think about the work culture that your job is going to provide for you. Now, this one off the bat is going to be the hardest you're going to have to know because you cannot find this online. You can probably figure this out if you go on Reddit, Glassdoor, LinkedIn, maybe if they tell the truth on there, but you won't find it on their website. And what I mean by work culture, I mean, do people like working there? Is it good for career growth? But also, are you going to be micromanaged? Let's just get the cat out of the bag. Are you going to be micromanaged this job? Have people in previous positions said that they love their managers? Do you really see yourself getting along with your coworkers? Not like being besties, but definitely being like, they're not going to narc on me, or they're not going to try to get one over me just to get a promotion. Are these people nice enough to be like, if you need help, ask? Or are they going to be like, whatever you need to figure out on your own because I don't want to ruin my promotional bag, right? So that's just something you have to think about. Think about work culture. You don't want to think about is this job going to be my doom and gloom? Am I going to be working 9 to 5 my entire life until I eventually pass in my sleep? It is not something you want to think about because you're young. You're too young to think about something that dark. But at the same time, you don't want to go into a job thinking that this is the best job for you. This is something that's going to help you get to a manager in 3 years, or they're going to give you the best managers and they're going to help you hold your hand through everything, which some might do, which is great if they do. But in the same breath, you don't want to be told, oh, they're going to be giving you the best support. They're going to give you all the projects. They're going to make sure you know exactly what your role is. And then the first day, you're giving 20 assignments to do, 3 projects to put on. Your manager is looking over your shoulder to make sure you even know what you're doing, and they've never been told what the heck their name was. So what are they even doing over your shoulder? And that's just something you have to deal with, and that's not something you should go through, obviously. But if that's something you heard online, or that's something you've read anywhere, maybe the company has a culture, maybe people are just met with specific people that just ruin it for everyone, then you should definitely take that into consideration. Obviously, don't quit your job over it. It's not it's serious, but it's not to the point where you feel like you must go for a different option. But if that's stopping you from taking an offer versus taking another offer, that is something to think about, because in the same breath of just having a work culture, it is also where you might get the most burnout. So if you think people being in your corner might help you lower the risk of burnout, or you think having too many projects on your plate might ruin your mental health, maybe don't take those projects, because those companies will not care if their work culture really isn't aligning with that specific value. But let's get on to number 2, identity culture. It is literally what their work culture is, but in terms of their individual people and what they're willing to help them on. So if you ever heard of a company being like, we give back to maternity leave, we make sure people of all races and genders and sexuality are treated fairly here, then those are the type of work culture, which is identity culture, and this is really about. So this is one thing you can go on their websites and literally find. So I mean, whether or not they adhere to it, it's up to like who works there for real. But if you, like my company, for example, no names, obviously. My company, for example, they're very good when it comes to treating everyone with respect. They always look for people that are from different backgrounds. They never put people into a pigeonhole to force them into a different work culture. Me, for example, I do business casual because that is literally what we are allowed to do. I am also remote, so I don't have to worry about that. But if you have to go in the office, for example, or they made you go in the office because you're a manager, you're sales, then maybe you might have kids at home, maybe you might be doing maternity leave, or in maternity leave, which is the most common one, and you're able to ask for an extension when it comes to even going to the office. I mean, even told you have to relocate to go to the quickest office, and they will reaccommodate you for that. Now, will it happen for everyone? Maybe not. I don't know. I've heard good stories about my company, so obviously I am not thinking that is the bread and butter of everyone, but if it can happen for the few, hopefully it can happen for everyone. But that is something you'll have to look into, because if you go for a company that values does not match with you, or maybe they don't really care about your background, or they don't see you as a person, they just see you as someone who can push their company to make money, maybe it's not the worst thing for a lot of people. Maybe they don't really care, they just want a paycheck. But if you come down the line, you want kids, or you need like medical help, or you need like time off just to be at home and really relax before going back into the office, you want to make sure those benefits are really there for you. And it's kind of different than have like obviously insurance and PTO and all these other things. But if you need like a mental health day and those companies do not care if you are even going through it, that could be part of the culture at your job, and that could consider work, obviously. But if you need mental health there and they're not seeing you as a person, that is identity culture as well. Because at the end of the day, someone above you is getting those weeks off PTO after doing like 3 weeks of work, and you can't get a day off after you've been doing months of work. So, not to put you like on there, but it's definitely something you want to look into and ask around about, because you just never know what companies will do just to make sure they stay above their profits. So let's get to number 3. Something you can look into, but that will be like the benefits. And we can talk about this forever, but I think you already know. Like the benefits are your PTO, your career growth, are you getting certifications? Are you able to like become a better person at your job? I don't know how to put it that. You know what the benefits are. You see them all over the place. Are you getting a 401k match? Are you getting performance benefits? Are you getting commission? Are you able to like grow at your company? Are you gonna be like pigeonholed there for 3 years with no, like literally no promotion? So obviously we all know what a promotion is. We all know what a 401k is. We all know what a match is. We all know what stock equity is. Or if we don't, we'll figure it out when we get there. But if they're not willing to give you what you deserve or what you think you deserve, then you might want to keep negotiating those money, which I know I said I was going to negotiate a salary. I don't know when I'm doing that. I don't even know how. We're going to figure it out and make a video, because honestly, I forgot all about that until I said it right now. But we're going to look into that if we ever do get a new job, or if you're looking for a job yourself and you want to figure out how to negotiate your salary. Maybe I'll make a video about it, because there are certain ways to do it in consulting, because sometimes they don't care if you want more money. They just want you to get in their job or get someone else. But that is all part of your benefits. So if they're not willing to make the money look pleasing, maybe you might want to go somewhere else. But let's go on to number 4. Honestly, sound a little bit tedious and maybe sound a little bit basic, but it's okay because this is about location. It's all important to know if you can go to this place because there's jobs out there, which was mine, maybe might be not for whatever. There are jobs that maybe say they're remote and now they're going in the office. So location is very important. You definitely want to know if you're remote, hybrid, or in person, not just because you have to move there, but if you're remote and then in 2 months they say you're going to the office and you don't live next to an office, will they give you relocation stipend? Will they help you move? Will they help you adjust to that lifestyle? And it might sound like, oh yeah, I'll go anywhere the job takes me. Great, I love that energy. But if you have a family or if you bought a house or if you don't want to go there, that could be a very big thing. You may want to talk to your managers, your recruiter, your HR, whatever, because sometimes they don't care. Like a lot of companies now, obviously Amazon is like the biggest one that does it, but they were remote for like years because of COVID, obviously. And then they recently went back to like 5 days a week in the office with no like talk of like transitioning them to like a way to get there. And some people don't live next to an office in Amazon. I don't think there's an Amazon in Chicago as an office, which they must be, but I never heard of one. So if I was living in Chicago and it was remote for like the last 4 to 5 years and I'm told I gotta go in the office, I'm gonna be like, what office? Like there is no office. So I'll be forced to move to like probably Seattle where they actually have their headquarters. And if they don't give me a relocation package like at all, or they gave me like such a low amount considering Seattle is such an expensive place to live too, I would question like how can I make it work if I am just told like you have a week to a month to move. And it's like I never even had to think about this because I was never told. Now, how you even figure out how does it work? Honestly, I would just keep up with the news. Like keep up with the news because that's the biggest indicator if certain companies are gonna push to go in the office. Because a lot of big tech companies are doing it now because they just don't trust their employees. I don't know what to say. It's literally the truth. But when it comes to actually trying to figure out if you should go in the office or if you're gonna stay at home, remote, I ask your coworkers, if you haven't started yet, go on Glassdoor, honestly, or go on Reddit and see what they say. Because some people there might have a little bit of an inkling of what's going on in the company if they're still there, obviously. And they might be able to tell you like, oh yeah, it's been rumors that they're going to do a return to office soon, which is like RTO. So that is very good to know, just in case you do not know if you're going to stay remote or if you're going to be forced into the office. Because I know a lot of people, when they had an internship last year, they were told like remote. Week before they started, we're in person now. And it's like, where was the heads up? But anyway, let's get over to number 5. It seemed like the most obvious because it is. Obviously it is. But this is the most important as well. Outside of everything else I just said. Outside of everything else. If you ignore everything, listen to number 5. Number 5 is, does this look good on your resume? Like, can you make this look plausible for like not just future jobs, but just for employees, for your coworkers, for any project that you might land on for your consulting role? Because consultants work on projects. Every project is different. You're not even working on the same project for like 5 years sometimes. Sometimes it could be 3 months. And then you're moving on to the next project. Can your resume keep up? Does it look pretty? Are you actually doing enough on these projects to say, I've actually helped on this and I help you guys make more money? Because that's all they care about. It's making money, right? Can you actually prove that? Can you actually show it up? Does your resume tell a story they can actually look at and be like, oh, this person actually, they know what they're doing? If yes, take the job. Literally take the job. And how would you even know this if you never taken the job before? Internet. Honestly, Reddit. I don't know. Reddit, Glassdoor. I think Fishbowl might be a main one, but I can't tell what they do on there. I feel like it's like a Reddit 2.0. But anyway, those jobs are so important. Like obviously, if you work at a big like consulting firm like Deloitte or McKinsey, then you're good. Like you can just take the job unless you don't want it, obviously. Take the job, your resume will be perfect, right? But if you're looking for a smaller firm or you know they are spread over the country, over the world, can you really trust that they're gonna have the best benefit for your resume if you were to want to jump ship in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to another company, maybe a bigger one that gives you more money? Can you prove that their job, their work, their projects are actually good enough to be put on your own resume? And obviously you can't answer that fully unless you take the job. But you also don't want to take a job that does the bare minimum, has barely any projects, you're on a bench all month, all year. Well, if you're on a bench all year, you're probably getting fired. Let's just be for real. But if you have to stay on a really basic project doing very basic Excel work, maybe you're printing for your manager. I don't know what they do nowadays. You might not get the growth of what I just talked about, even from like 1 to 4. So number 5 is definitely not going to help you when it comes to resume. So it's good to know these things. And yes, it will call for a little extra research just because you really just don't know. It is something you have to understand when you're leaving college, or even when you're doing an intern. I mean, internships is a little different because pick whatever you want. It doesn't matter. You'll figure it out when it comes like in the month and you realize, hey, I did something. That's all I can say. But when it's your full-time job, you want a little bit more than just something. You want something that can actually help you grow, even if it's like 2 years at this company. Like I don't want to work at like a corporation and all I did is print papers. That'd be really stupid. Unless I'm gonna pay a lot of money for it, maybe it's okay, but like you don't want to be stagnant in your life. I mean, you can be stagnant in other things, but at my job, I just want a price bump. I just want a pay bump at the very least. Like, at least I'm getting a pay bump. But you just want this to look good in your resume. Your resume is the one thing that people change up a lot every day, every month. It is the one thing that's ever changing more in people's LinkedIn sometimes. You don't want to change that. You don't want to change it so it stays stagnant for 3 months. So if nothing else on this list appeals to you, maybe you already knew everything, make sure this job, full-time mainly, looks good in your resume. Whether it's the name, the number of people who work there, the salary, because sometimes the salary might look a little bit better than everything else. If it's the work you did, if it was extraordinarily, put it on your resume. You take out the name of what you did, but everything else is fine. Just let it be known that you did something and this will help you in the future. Even if you personally don't think you did enough, don't obviously inflate yourself and make yourself have an ego when you make resumes. It's just a whole thing. It's a whole process. It's really annoying. It's really tedious. I get it. I don't like making resumes myself, but it's the work that counts. It really is. But that's really all I have. That's the 5 major things to look for. They're kind of basic, but if you didn't know about it, then now you know, right? And this is something to just look for any job. Obviously, any job works in this regards, but obviously consulting is my bread and butter now, so that's what I'm pushing for. But that's all I have for you guys today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Let me know any more that you have in the comment section that you want to talk about. Maybe more video ideas like in the future as well. But I will see you guys later on this week. Bye-bye.